which is the top set of lines, we are now trying to do for our experience management, which is the very simple concept of, can you articulate the intent in terms of a concept? Can you then, after realizing the design, after putting it in terms of, here is the software I can articulate, here is the hardware, here's how big I can make it, etc., how much of that original intent is left? And then once you're finished, can you validate that you have achieved that experience? And it's very interesting because that particular validation is an emotional validation, not a technical or metrology type of validation. And the challenge here is the more science and the more objectivity you can put into this process, the better your results will be, but you have to acknowledge that you can't completely leave the realm of subjectivity in this, because after all, you look at the iPhone, okay, and what they have done is they have sold a user experience. The phone isn't a particularly impressive phone from RF and measurement capabilities, but the experience is addictive, okay? And I just love the comment that says, the geniuses of today are actually painting their canvases on the art form of software, and that's what you're trying to achieve, is that golden user experience. These are a few of the emerging issues that we see from our perspective at Motorola. What I'd like to do is move into a discussion on the responsibility of leadership and culture. And the aspects of culture in quality are very important to us. As the Chief Quality Officer of the company, the cultural part of it is a very important part of my responsibility. And basically, somebody defined culture to me as what people do when no one is watching. And I think that's a particularly good definition, because it doesn't need the motivational posters if you can achieve that. So how do we at Motorola seek to build culture? First of all, the incentives that you provide the employees, the measurement capabilities, the reward and recognition schemes. We have CEO quality awards, which I'm proud to say there are a couple hanging in our Tel Aviv office of Motorola Israel that they have received. We have rewards all along the spectrum, from individual rewards to team rewards for quality, and we try to catch people doing the right thing. Okay, the second thing, we refer to it as vital signs, but we believe there's two aspects of culture that are inextricable and need to be driven. Number one is your managers and your leaders in line operations have to drive quality in their day in and day out responsibilities. Okay, we have a process that we call quality vital signs, which we use to measure and set expectations on the leaders on how they drive quality in their everyday operations. Do you personally involve yourself in reviews? Do you hire the right skill sets? Do you have the people on your team that you need? And more importantly, there's a survey of their direct reports that answer the question, how does your manager lead in quality? So that's a very important part, and I believe that it starts from the top down. If you can't get the management involvement, the quality organization can do nothing. The next thing is providing all of the associates the skills they need to insert quality in their job. And we developed a program called Quality IQ, which basically provides the broad organization specific training, whether they're software engineers, electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, on techniques that they can use to drive quality into their work. The most important part of Quality IQ was the initial course that we gave, which basically took all of Motorola's employees and basically told them what our approach was. Kind of articulated, here's the definition of quality, here are the tools you have in front of you, here's what we mean and here's what we don't mean, and here's your role. Okay, and that was a profound influence. We did this in 2006. We delivered this to every one of the professional labor population of Motorola, and it set the table for a profound change and a profound uptick in quality. And then, of course, there's governance, and that is at every level you have management asking the question, how are our customers doing? How is your performance? And by making that important on an everyday basis, you drive the culture that this is indeed an important part of the operations work. So in closing, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about something that I call the moral high ground, okay? When I took over this role, I went from having 3,000, 3,500 people in my direct organization to having 20, okay, because we have a distributed quality organization in the businesses. There's an aspect by which you can turn that 20 direct reports into having everybody in the company reporting to you, and that's if you follow one of what I think are the basic influence management principles that I refer to as the moral high ground. And what's the moral high ground? It's a way of articulating a position so that people demean themselves by opposing you. Okay, it's stating it so simply in such incontrovertible ways that the people, they can't oppose you. Quality has a tremendous amount of moral high ground capability. What do you mean you don't think your quality needs to improve? What do you mean the customer isn't important? Okay, and the articulation of that position is a very important cultural aspect. And here's the way we've chosen to articulate it. And I've talked about this before. Number one is you measure yourself like your customer. You measure yourself in their words. If you do something and the customer doesn't feel it, you have to question the value of having done it. Number two, you don't compare yourself to your previous performance. You go seek out and compare yourself to the best in the industry, and you go drive that. And the third, and possibly the most important, is that as you talk to customers, the most important aspect of quality is meeting the commitments you make. Okay, and so quality of commitment. Those three elements are unarguable, and opposing them is indefensible. So I think that there's a tremendous amount of power in articulating it this way. In closing, my belief and our management practices say that quality is not an organization, quality is not an initiative, it's a responsibility of the entire organization. And everyone in the organization has that responsibility. Thank you very much for your attention.